So today, June 2020, I bought Gap stock. This could either be the greatest investment I ever make or one of the worst investments I ever make. In today's video, I'll be explaining why I bought Gap stock. I'll let you know why I'm so bullish on it, some of the risk involved, the pros, the cons, and lastly, my final thoughts on how everything will turn out. For anyone that is brand new to the channel, my name is Bruce Wang. I'm a dividend investor, real estate investor, and links are going to be in the descriptions. So if you guys have any questions, go into the links in the description. Everything's there. If you want to see my entire portfolio, if you want to, buy some of my merch, support the channel, go hook me up. So YEEZY himself has finally made it onto the Bruce Wang channel. Never in a million years would I think I'll be talking about him here. So he signed a 10-year deal with Gap. He's going to be the new creative director for YEEZY/Gap collaboration. Gap believes Kanye West can turn around their brand image and also bring in $1 billion worth of revenue. I think that he might be able to do it. All right. Kanye West is a genius when it comes to fashion and music. That's his thing, or just being an artist in general. So for anybody that doesn't know who Kanye West is, let me familiarize him with you. He first became popular with his music. He has won 21 Grammy Awards and making him one of the most awarded artists of all time. These are just some of his songs. And after he became very popular with music, he transitioned into fashion. Kanye has his own luxury apparel line called YEEZY, and he has done collaborations with Adidas as well. So here are some of his shoes that he's made, and these are all sold out. If you try to buy any of these shoes right now, you're not gonna be able to find any. All of these are all sold out. And if you do want to buy them, you would have to go to another website. Here is another website that I found. Let me refresh this real quick. So if you wanted to buy a pair of his shoes, you would have to spend $300 to $500. And I think a lot of these are all already sold out as well, out of stock. So there's a lot of demand for YEEZY right now. And I think Gap wants to really get in on that streetwear apparel market. If we take a look at their market cap, I didn't even know that you could find the market cap of streetwear, but let's take a look here, somewhere around here. So the streetwear market is somewhere around $185 billion. And if we take a look at the global sneaker market, that is roughly around $58 billion in 2018. And we're in 2020 right now, and I think it's still more popular than ever. So let's get into some numbers. Gap right now is sitting at $12.25. This morning, when the news broke out that Kanye West would be partnering with them, the price of Gap jumped up to $14.44. So the market knows that this is good news, but right now there's still a lot of uncertainty with Gap, and that's why I want to go over the risk with you. So I'm going to pull up the Morningstar report on Gap. This is one of the tools that I use to help me decide and analyze the stocks if I should buy them or not. And this could be found on Robinhood as well. So Morningstar is a reputable analysis company, and they're saying Gap is has a 5-star rating. The last price as of June 18th, Gap was sitting at around $11.13, so that's about $1 less than today. The fair value estimate right now is sitting at $20.50. And with this new news, I think that the fair value should be a little bit higher than that is right there, because this is based off of all the news and everything that has happened since previous to June 18th, 2020. So now let's take a look at some of the quarterly financials for Gap. In the quarterly financials here, revenue was sitting at $2 billion for May 2020. This just came out a few days ago. Net income, negative $900 million. So a lot of the factors that are affecting these numbers are mainly from the Rona situation, but for the last 10 years, Gap has been on a slow decline. I can't even remember the last time that I stepped into Gap to buy something for myself. But let's take a look at some more numbers here. So before the Rona situation happened, Gap was still seeing a negative net income of negative $184 million. Previous to that, there was a net income of $140 million, and in August of 2019, there was $168 million net income. So going through the revenue for the last year, it's been around $4 billion. And for the quarterly report of May 2020, revenue was cut in half. So there's a lot of risk factors for owning Gap right now. And one of those is the trade war with China. I think that Gap sources around 16% of their material from there. So if they don't get the trade, if the trade deal doesn't really go through or doesn't improve, they have to really outsource outside of China, maybe go somewhere else, maybe Southeast Asia. So another risk factor for owning Gap stock right now has to be some of their businesses, with some of the brands within their businesses are just not doing that well. All right, so let's take a look here. We have Old Navy, Athleta, Gap, Banana Republic, Janie and Jack, Intermix, and Hill City. Old Navy is the business that is doing the best. Athleta is the one that's on the come up right now. Athleta is a women's athleisure apparel line. Gap, nowhere to be seen. Banana Republic, they're closing down a lot of stores throughout America and globally as well. Janie and Jack is a new acquisition that they had in the last year. They bought this from another company they were going bankrupt, so they just bought this from another company. Intermix, I think it's not doing well. Hill City, I have to do a little bit more research on that, but I think that this is another athleisure wear for men. Before we jump into the pros and cons of owning Gap stock right now, don't forget to drop me a like on this video, and let's get right into it. So the pros of owning Gap stock right now, I think that in 1 year from now, there's going to be a really big turnaround for Gap. Earlier in the year, they suspended their dividend. That gave them about $500 million to reinvest into their business. And I think that they're going to restart that dividend again next year. So for all the dividend investors like me, this is a longer term hold in my opinion. In the short term, I think that the price will still fluctuate a lot. It's going to be very volatile. But after Kanye West comes out with a few designs, I think that Gap will really start turning around. He has a proven product right now, all right? Kanye and the YEEZY brand is a proven product with their shoe apparel and with their clothing line. With their main clothing line, I think you can't even buy that off of the YEEZY website. And you have to buy that off another Farfetch website, which is, if you guys haven't heard of Farfetch, they're like a middleman for luxury products. They source out all of the luxury brands from boutiques and they help sell them on the website. So for anybody that's not really into fashion, they might not see the value in owning like a $1,000 graphic cardigan, but there is a market for this type of streetwear. Another pro is that YEEZY will bring a whole new target audience to the Gap. For the last 10 years or so, I think Gap has just really lost its identity. I believe that the people that used to buy Gap just outgrew them just altogether. So like that one generation, previously, like before, I used to buy a lot of Gap clothes and I just completely outgrew them. I'm not really sure, like I don't really fit in with like their brand image anymore. And lastly, another pro for Gap right now is that their one business brand that's doing really well, Old Navy, is still going strong. They're still opening up new stores every single year, and there's still continuous growth within that company, within that brand. All right, so let's take a look at some of the cons. Number one is going to be the Rona situation. Right now, in the last week, there's been an uptick in positive tests all over the country right now. And that is scary, all right? That's scary for a lot of investors as well. I think that's why the market's been pretty flat in the last week or so. So that is still in everybody's minds. Everyone just wants to be healthy. They don't want to contract the virus. They don't want to be going to the malls. There's lower traffic in the malls. There's more store closings every single month now. In some states, they're starting to dial back and push further the reopening dates for a lot of restaurants, a lot of businesses like gyms in the mall and everything like that. So it's still a big factor for Gap within the short term. But in my long-term vision, COVID-19 is going to be temporary and everything should be getting back to normal, hopefully, by the end of this year or maybe even next year. And with the rise of the Rona situation, there's been so many store closings over the last month, over the last few months. I think that this, in hindsight, might be a good thing, right? So hear me out. A lot more stores are going to be closing. That means less employees. That means less overhead, less rent, less expenses. And if they slowly and gradually move everything to a more different type of market strategy, like a limited supply, higher demand type of thing that they are doing with Adidas and the Yeezy shoes, I think this will drive up revenue for Gap in general. So here are my final thoughts on why I bought Gap. All right, I'm a dividend investor, long-term investor. I know that Gap will be paying their dividends again next year if all things get back to normal. So that's one. Two, Kanye West will have full creative control over the Yeezy and Gap collaboration. Gap should just be worried about the supply chain, the manufacturing, making sure that they can create what he wants to make. That's all they have to worry about. And just make sure that he designs new clothes every single season for the next 10 years. Revenue for Gap should go up. And lastly, Kanye is just going to bring so much brand awareness to the Gap. You know, he's married to one of the most influential female influencers out there, Kim Kardashian. You just see them walking around with, Gap, Yeezy, Gap brand clothes. That's just going to help them sell so much more. Since I'm in social media, I kind of know how things work. Like, I generate a lot of money for some of the companies that I work with, that I'm affiliated with. Like, that's just on like a micro scale. And if you times that by like 10 million, that's going to be, that's just going ham. That's Kanye West right there. Him and his wife, they could basically do whatever they want and people will just buy and buy and buy. So this investment might turn out really well, or it might turn out really bad. Stay tuned for the 1-year update for this. Go watch some of my older videos if you haven't seen them already. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button to get more videos just like this. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on my second channel. I just came out with a new membership, so if you guys want to see my entire portfolio, know exactly when I buy or sell, join me on my membership on YouTube. It's right there somewhere in the links below. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.